First of all, welcome everybody to the presentation of Frederik Wouters and myself. We'll be talking about the layout builder that we've been working on at Dropsolid. So let's start off by quickly going over the agenda. So we'll give a quick introduction of who we are, what Dropsolid is as a company, why we believe the layout builder is good, why we did some UX research on it and improved the layout builder. Frederik will be doing a live demo of the layout builder and show some improvements, and to end things, some cool features about the layout builder and what really makes it special. But let's start off by introducing ourselves. I'm here with my colleague Frederik Wouters, aka Greasy Freddy. Frederik is the enterprise architect at Dropsolid, and we're both in Team Strike. I myself am Tony Geest, aka Magic Twanne. I'm a digital marketeer at Dropsolid and also in Team Strike. Maybe a quick summary for the people who don't know Dropsolid. Dropsolid, we're digital experience company, and we're giving our clients the freedom to grow their website into digital experiences. We've existed for 8 years and have 8 years of non-stop growth. We have 80 employees within our company based all over Europe, and we also have 3 partnerships. And then we have more partnerships. We have partnerships in 3 continents, for example, with the people from Swiss who are also in this session, as I can see. Yeah, we also show off some clients that we worked for, Sudal, TVH, ERA. So yeah. We've been really active in the Drupal community. For example, we've supported over more than 58 projects and been to multiple Drupal events in Belgium or in Amsterdam. Yeah, really like all over the world. We've created a digital experience platform. What is a digital experience platform? We use different open source components, for example, content management systems, so Drupal, marketing automation system as Mautic, and a customer data platform that is Apache Unomi, sorry, to create real digital experience for all of our clients. Next to that, we also do strategy, UX design, Drupal consultancy, Drupal training, yeah, everything surrounding Drupal strategy or UX, you name it, and we do it. Okay, so now let's get into the presentation. But one cannot look at the future without looking at the past. Drupal has been around for multiple years. There have been multiple ways of editing content within Drupal. For example, the 5 most important ones are the structured fields within Drupal, paragraphs, WordPress style editing, quick edit, and finally the layout builder. So now we'll go over all these different ways of content editing and show you guys how it evolved and how we see it for the future. As most of you know, Drupal has been around for a long time. For example, it's older than YouTube, HTML5, Firefox, WordPress, Safari. So Drupal has been given a lot of time to work on content. How can we put it in place as a content editor, or how can we edit our content? And it really all started off with the structured fields. This was the early way of structuring content. Fields were added to a content tag, and there were like thousands of variants. For example, there was a field for YouTube videos, there was a field for SoundCloud videos, and this was really the basic concept in core with like thousands of variations. After the structured fields, we moved on to the template way of rendering content using templates, but the problem here was that they weren't dynamic, so it wasn't ideal as well. After that, we went back to the old school dynamic way of editing content using paragraphs. This gave us the opportunity to add content on a dynamic way and give more freedom to the content editors putting in the content on our websites. After the The paragraphs we evolved into, oh no, sorry. The paragraphs gave us multiple of thousands possibilities to create dynamic content pages. For example, within the core of Drupal at Dropsolid, we have multiple paragraphs giving us stories with images left and right, call to actions, YouTube videos that could be embedded. The possibilities here really were endless, and this was great for the end user or for the clients. Yeah, using the websites, this gave them a lot of freedom to really create personalized and dynamic content on their site. And finally, we had WordPress style inline editing. This used an intuitive interface, something like Gutenberg, as most of you know, and this gave us the possibility to really go do some inline editing. Maybe Fredrik, you could show the demo that we have ready of Gutenberg. Yes. So as you can see, this gives us the possibility to really do inline editing, and to, yeah, it was an easier way to edit the content for the content editors. But it also came with a lot of problems. For example, the moderation workflow wasn't clear. The multilinguality was a big problem. We had a limited reuse of content, and a lot of it was unstructured. It was good, but only for like typical blog style websites. And then there was quick edits and with inline editing, but it wasn't as popular because it didn't really work. So a lot of history, and now Fredrik will show you how we solve these problems with Layout Builder.
Hi, so Layout Builder is in the core since Drupal 8 and Drupal 9. And the approach is a little different than it used to be with paragraphs and like the typical content fields, where in the past you had a paragraphs field on a content type. Now you have sections on a content type. And in this section, you can have multiple blocks. So if you have a specific content type, for example, events, that's the example that I always use, you can have structured data like a date field or a description on an event or a location. And then you have the stuff that is related to how it's going to be visualized on the website. And then that can be in multiple sections with blocks in the content. It looks sort of like this. So these are sections. There are multiple sections here, sections with left and right. There can be sections with, for example, 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns. And then in these sections, you can add your own blocks. They can be 1 block, but you can also add multiple blocks to a section. It's quite cool because these blocks are Drupal blocks. And there's a nuance because you can use reusable blocks, but you can use also one-off blocks. So you can see the form here, which is a reusable block that you can use. But you could also say, okay, I want to add an image here, and then it's just creating an image for this block on this page in this layout for one-off content. And what you can do from this is create also templates. For example, if you'd like to template this piece with an image left and text on the right, then you can just add a specific section to a library or add an entire page to the library. And then later on, you can reuse this from a section library. More on this later. So you have to keep in mind, blocks aren't just blocks. You have the classic blocks like we used to know them, where you can reuse them. They can be used in layouts and they're themable. The inline blocks are also exactly the same. They're themable. They can also be used in layout, but they're not as reusable. The difference is in the context. The context of the block is different. And this is a good foundation. So this is how it looks in core. I think I even have an editor ready. This is Layout Builder in core. So we can add a section on top here. This is Drupal 9 core with nothing special. And then like section 2, we're adding a section here. We can add a block here. And then you can search a specific block and find it here, who's online, whatever, all kinds of blocks here. So, but this interface, it's cool, but our editors aren't entirely happy yet. So, and at Dropsolid, we're not the only one that experienced this, because we also see in the community, layout components is getting popular also, which is like like an attempt to fix the user interface on Layout Builder. There's also ImageX Media that created a Bootstrap Layout Builder, also built on Layout Builder, but like a little more graphical. And of course, as we do in software development, if there are 14 competing Layout Builder styles, we're at Dropsolid, we create the 15th and ultimate Layout Builder style. So this is what we did in Rocketship. But we didn't just start like real developers, just start coding. No, we have an in-house UX person, Ines, which also is giving a session, by the way, on how she did user research and how you should handle this kind of thing for your company. But we did this for Layout Builder, and this is the result that came out of it. I'm going to do a live demo now. You know how it goes. I put in some slides also to share the slides later, but I think the demo is where we're going now. So in this screen, I'm logged in as an editor, so I'm not an administrator here. And what I see here is a page with all types of content. It could also have been made with paragraphs, but you see there's more possibilities here. Right? So let me scroll up again. It happens quite fast, I suppose. I'm also going to show you what we changed. In the classic Drupal, you would have edit here, and that's it. But of course, since we have two ways of editing, you have edit the structure and metadata, which is like the event fields in our example, and you have the edit where you could edit the layout of the page. So in Rocketship, we split this and we say, okay, structure and metadata to allow us to edit the structure and metadata. And what's in the name? Voila, you can edit these typical fields here. Everybody knows this. But then we have the manage content where we allow for the more visual way. And you see here immediately, this is like the classical Drupal way of editing only the editability. I'm going to scroll down just to show. But if you then do preview only, then you can see how it looks for you. And if you do preview with editability, then you have the combination of how you can edit your content with the structure of the page. And I'm going to add some content here. With all the scrolling, I'm sorry. I'm going to do it on top here. And here you see also import from library. So if we create a section and add it to a library, it's going to be very reusable for other content editors. So if I create, for example, a quote section, then let's just create it. Let's create a section like that. This is the section. It's okay with the background color. No background color. Add section. There's also possible to add a background image to the section, but we're not going to do it. We're just going to add an image. And at Dropsolid, you saw in the presentation earlier that we created a whole lot of paragraph types that we support in our distribution. Also, in our distribution, we provide these pieces of content of a way of editing as blocks, so that you can start with an empty distribution and have already a lot of possibilities to add content. That makes it easy for someone to get started. So let's add an image here. I like the surfer one. I like surfing these holidays. So okay, normal. And then here's some text. Maybe some text. Yeah. I'm going to type. Yeah. Below. Let's see. Okay. No call to actions, just like that. Okay. And then maybe let's just add another block, maybe a form. We have a form that we can link to. Yeah, nice. Okay, save content. As you see, with a very limited amount of interactions, you can create really flexible layouts, like really flexible content. This, I showed it now on a page. So I started editing one page. This is only a layout for one page. But of course, as site builders, as developers, it's much more interesting to have this also for content types. So the interesting thing is, if you want, you can also do this for a specific content type, and you can put the layout for an entire content type. So we could also have, but I'm an editor here, I cannot do this in this session. You'll have to believe me. You can do this as a, you can edit this here. Let me go back. This layout for a specific content type. I have some other cool, nice things to show you, and I'm going to show these as well. So there's some issues that we had with Layout Builder in core, and that is the nesting with nesting of sessions. So nesting in sessions was quite hard, and multilingual was of course an issue. And since we also support multilingual in our websites, we had to implement asymmetric translations, which means that you can translate the node, but you have to like lay out the different translation for the node. We also did some patches in core. I'm not going to go into detail because we're short on time. And there's some cool things that you can add on Layout Builder that we also supported. So you can lock specific block for specific roles. So with the module Layout Builder lock, you can allow some editors, for example, administrators, to only edit the header, and other editors to only edit the content in the layout. It looks a bit like this. Super admins can edit the upper part, and only other can lay out other blocks. Another cool thing is Layout Builder modal that we added on Layout Builder, so that if a person edits with the inline edit button, they can just see a modal to edit the things in line. Small things make it good. We also added a Layout Builder operation link that you can, from an overview page, link to the layout to start laying out this page. Another cool thing, Layout Builder restrictions, because there's the possibility to have a lot of sections, like a lot of combinations of sections. And if you allow the users to see them all, it might become a soup quite fast. That's why we also restrict specific sections by role, by layout, by content type. This way you can really administer, allow editors to give pages a certain format, a certain look. And then I think personally the most powerful one is section library, which allows you to put layouts in the library and then reuse them like this, so that you're configuring one page, you can save it as a template, you can do an entire page, then save it as a template and reuse it when you're creating content on the fly. So I think that's, in a nutshell, all that we wanted to demonstrate, and I think we're quite on time. So if you have questions or want to connect, you can contact us through these links. We have lots more to tell. We have also an advanced session on Layout Builder with Wesley de Vriend and myself, and there we're going to go also into detail, because there's also nice hooks and code to go into a little more examples on the section library. And thanks for watching. Do we do questions?
I don't see any right now. I don't know if anyone has a question.
I do see three.
Oh, okay. It's with Q&A. I wasn't looking right.
Okay, so let's go there. Thanks for attending, everybody. And now we're going to do the Q&A. So the first one I see here is, when using Layout Builder, I find that I want to create some padding or margin between the columns, so left and right. How do I go about that? Can I use Rocketship for that? Well, what we did is, in Rocketship, we allowed the possibility for a user to choose if a section is full page width or not full page width. I suppose that you can add multiple, you could add multiple possibilities, like with a lot of margin or few margin or page width. That might be like a thing that you could do for Mero. Then Alexei, how do you solve the problem with missing sync layout feature to deliver content from desktop to client? That's a good question, and I don't know the answer to that. Another question. Do you implement, it's going fast, any ways to organize images, categories, text, some way of filtering? I suppose that you could just look at the media library for that. Lawrence Straff, who's also in the call, knows a lot about this. Maybe you can answer the question as well. There's also the how do you manage the issue with Layout Builder modal when the user has a CKEditor field and they want to add a table to the CKEditor? I'm not aware of this issue, so I cannot answer on that. So, then, did you try the layout paragraphs module? What did you think? Yes, we did give it a try. I don't know very much the details of it, but our vision was to go with core. Drop Solid has, it has really Drupal core in the DNA, and we're going with Drupal for the long term. So because Layout Builder was in core, we're really going with the core way of doing it. But I think it's certainly something to try. There's other people trying paragraphs module, like the layout paragraphs as well. Let's see, there's more questions, huh? I think the building blocks use inline styling. How will this work with CSP? CSP meaning for the security policy. I'm not sure if they do, because they're usual regular blocks. You could theme them also like you themed Drupal before. Huh? Then if I have a page with Layout Builder where everybody sees some blocks, but user with a specific role see more blocks. Could you have that? You could alter the blocks as you wish. Yeah? It's just blocks, and you can show or hide them as you wish, but an administrator will probably see all of them. So I suppose you could do that quite easily, yes. Hi guys, thanks for the presentation. Do you support symmetric translation with Rocketship profile? I'd have to ask the question to Nick van Plaat. He can answer that. But I think it's quite hard because we had to patch core for translations to work. So, how is Builder scaling? Are there performance considerations? I'm not sure what performance considerations that you're talking about. If you talk about server-side performance, we're running it like on production, so we don't experience delays on that. And if you mean front-end performance considerations, we're just there's not very much JavaScript, so we need to encounter bugs on that. So that's that. Thanks for your interaction, and hope to see you soon. If you have more questions, maybe you can go to the booth, and then we'll see each other. We can see each other later. Okay.
Thank you, guys. Bye.